Okay, now I want to show you a quick and easy way to do a pocket. So normally your pockets are going to have a half an inch fold over on each side. Okay, so I'm going to do a half an inch on there, and then remember you always fold into the mountain. You created a valley, and you're going to fold into the mountain. Okay, and then we're going to put this down away from the score line. Make sure I'm in camera here. We're going to put this down. We're going to line it up with everything, making sure that we're all good there. Going to take a little pencil, and we're going to make a mark. And we're going to make a mark where I want the fold to land on this. Okay, so that's where I want the crease to land on this once this gets creased. Now I'm going back over here, and now what I'm doing is I've got a little teeny mark here, and I'm lining up. Let me get see if you can see this. I've got a little teeny mark right there. That's my little teeny mark. And I'm lining it up right in the groove. Any groove, it doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to make my, oh, come on back out again. Okay, so I made my score mark, and now I'm going to cut myself off about a half an inch. This is going into my pile for, who knows, I still got to get a cover. And then I'm going to fold into the mountain. Okay, so let's put this away. All of my fingernails have broken, so I've had quite a time with them puppies. Okay, so now we are got our pocket. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to just take off a little bit from the score line to the edge. Okay, we're going to put glue on each one of the folded pieces, our flaps, and we're going to put glue right on the edge of the bottom of the pocket. Hold this puppy in. And we're just going to line this back up. And we have a perfectly fitted pocket for the space that we needed. Alright, get these little tidbits out of here. Okay, so now we've got, I had done the pockets. I've got my pockets in. Let's see. Now I'm going to figure out, I'm going to get my tags in place and figure out which ones I'm going to want to cut for these, and then we'll figure out embellishments, and then the big question is what the heck am I going to do for a cover? Alright guys, back in a minute. Okay, so we're at this now. We've got my tags in the pockets, and we've got tags in the envelopes, and I've taken this page and I cut out the squares that I needed. So this is 1 and 2. All right. Didn't necessarily need them to be showing, just that they're kind of, you know, tab-like. Okay. So now, how do you take this to make it a cover? Okay, so this book, standing with everything flat on this side, and you measure it to the end of the tabs, because that's what we're interested in, is to make sure that we have a cover that's going to cover everything. So we're at 4.5. Now, some people like to add a 1/2 inch to this, and some people like to add a 1/4 inch. You know, sometimes you're even more, depending on different circumstances. But I would say that adding a 1/4 inch on this measurement here is usually plenty. So I'm doing 1/4 inch past the stuck out tabs here. Okay, so that is going to give me 4 3/4. So we're going to do 4 3/4. Let me find, and of course I don't ever have a big marker when I need it. So 4 3/4. It's going to be a nice book to have in my purse or anybody's purse. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add a 1/4 inch. This is 5 3/4, so I'm going to make it by 6. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on each side. And then when you go to measure your spine, you want to make sure that you're getting each of the 1/8 inches that are sitting outside, you know, that are going to be stuck to the covers. So I'm just kind of making them stand up so that I can get, and I'm not squeezing. You don't want this measurement to be a squeezed measurement. And we are basically at 7/8 of an inch. And see, I do have a little bit of stretch here that can happen. So I'm going to put it at 1 inch. And then when I hook these, we'll be fine and dandy. So I'm going to put it just shy, in between 7/8 and 1 inch. Okay, so that's where I'm going to cut mine. Yours might come out differently. You just have to measure and see. And sometimes, you know, you got a different measurement on the other end. I do not have a different measurement. I'm pretty much at 7/8, so that's good. But sometimes you have a different measurement on one end than the other because of, you know, a fold or something just kind of catching wrong. Take the largest one, but also remember that, you know, you've only got so much play in this in order to fix that. Sometimes if you have it, maybe you can play around with your bone folder and folding, and even while it's attached, and try and lessen the difference. If it's like a 1/16 of an inch off, that's no problem. You know, you can, but if you're starting getting into an 1/8 of an inch off or more, it can kind of throw your book, and it won't you know, open as easily as you may want it to. Okay? Alright, so 4 3/4, and my spine is 1 inch. So hopefully you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. So we're going to have 4 3/4 And then we're going to add another 4 3/4. So there's 1/4. I want to make sure I'm staying in focus. So I did 1/4 of the 3/4. So now we need 4 1/2. All right, so I'm at the 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2. That's 9 1/2. And then 1 inch spine gets us to 10 1/2. So I need 10 1/2 inches out of this box this way. And then it's going to be by 6. Okay? So that's how you figure that out. You figure out what size you need one side of your book to be. You add your spine, add this twice, and add your spine once. I've got 10 1/2. So I hope that helps out some of you guys that maybe weren't sure exactly how to do that. And you remember now, we did 1/4 of an inch all the way around, okay? That basically gives you 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom and a full 1/4 inch on the side, all right? So, but you can do a 1/2 inch as well if you wanted to, okay? All right, so I'm going to get this box cut out, 10 1/2 by 6. I like to work within the frame of this. I'm going to cut all of these off and get this square first, and then I do my measurement. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because just because it's a rectangle does not mean, let me go ahead and put this back out again. Okay, just because this is a box and this rectangle does not mean it's square for our purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and give a cut here. There we go. I love this Fiskars cutter. It just does wonders. And then I'm going to see if I can take the box apart. Yeah, it's going to be pretty easy. There we go. Okay, I'm going to cut this other end off. I'm just getting it past the score line on both sides so that I'm getting that score line and flap off. There we go. Pull this, make sure, no, not yet. There we go. Okay. Now, I know this is a good cut now. So now I can start squaring things up. So I'm getting rid of this score line. Now this piece will make a good spine piece anytime you need a spine piece out of a book. This will do very well. For this book, I'm actually going to double the spine, so I'm going to use both of these front and backs for that. I'm going to flip this around so I can get my... There we go. Okay, so now I know I have a straight line here, and how I can tell is I'm going to use the rulers that are on here and use this here. So if you line, push the box down to the lip here, and then line it up on one of these lines from here to here. And you can, I hope you can see this, but I can see a black line straight down. So I know this is a good cut, this is a good cut. Okay? So now I'm going to measure this over to 6 inches. I'm going to make sure that I've got the box on the lip the way it needs to be. I'm going to hold this down so this doesn't allow the box to shift while I cut it. Okay? And there is my 6. And then I'm going to make this 10.5. Let's check this side. I'm going to put it against the lip, and I'm going to put it right up against. Okay, so we see black line all the way down. Alright, so we've got a good cut here as well. Now, I'm going to 10.5. I've got it down on the lip. I'll lay it down. Hold on to it. Make sure this is off before I move it. So there is my both sides and my spine in one piece. And I'm going to do that again with the other side of the box. Going to go ahead and cut off the score line. There we go. Again, you can use the center section. I've found by using these score marks, even if you, if you really had to, you could. If you took your bone folder and kind of pushed that back out. But the score marks on these are so that some of my books, if I've used the score mark, it shows up. And I don't like that. And it's so easy to get cereal boxes, especially at my house. My folks go through them fast. So I don't save this anymore unless I know that I'm going to be using some thin chipboard kind of stuff. But I have so much of that right now from all the books I've been doing. So I just toss it. But, you know, that's your decision to do whether you want to. There we go. Okay. Now I've got my 6 inches measured out. I'm holding on. There we go. And then 10.5. And then I'm going to glue these two together. And when I glue these guys together, I usually put them in a book press for a while. And I glue these two surfaces together so I don't have to deal with that. Then I score them after they're completely dry, and I get a good fold in them where I need the folds. And then I make my cover. So I will be back after I get this glued and in the book press and dried completely, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright guys, see you in a minute. Well, you know, your minute, not mine. Ha! Okay, so now that it has, the two pieces have been glued together, you're going to score it at 4 3/4. And I've already done this, so you're just going to do the best you can on getting that started, and then just kind of running it down and making sure that you're ending in a groove here. Sometimes I take and put my this tool. Yes. I put this tool. Oh my god, I can't think of this. Yes. Scoring tool. At the 4 3/4 and bring it down and leave it in so that I know that I'm actually getting it on this end where it should be started. So you'll come off of it because this is so thick. You'll come off of it some, but for the most part, if you work it on both ends a little bit, you're going to eventually get a nice, I wouldn't say crisp because it's cardboard, but you're going to get a nice fold. Now remember, you don't have to go past this point. You can push on this a little bit, but I would suggest not doing too much more because you are going to get some splits. Some of the cardboard is better than others. I am going to totally cover this, so it's going to work out just fine. But anyway, so that's what you want to do. Now, I am going to have to choose two 8.5 by 11s or two 12 by 12s, whatever you want to do, paper for this. So I'm going to probably take this, which has got every color in it, and I'm going to see which one I'm going to like the most. See if I can find some solid paper that's going to work for this. And then we'll utilize the rest of the things that we have here to decorate it. So two solid pieces of 8.5 by 11 is all you need to add to this to finish it up. So the cardboard, your 12 by 12 pad, and two 8.5 by 11s, of course with glue. And we had 4 cards and envelopes. That's it, girls and guys. Alright, so I'll be back once I pick my papers. Back in a sec. Okay, I lied. You really do need to have one 12 by 12 that you want on the outside because it is 10.5, and you want to have more than 1/4 of an inch to flip over the top here. You can make it work. If that's all you have, you can make it work. You're just gonna, you know, make sure you've got it anchored down pretty well, because you are going to put an inside cover on it, which will help adhere it down even more. But if you do have a 12 by 12, that's going to give you more space, or you can put an 8.5 by 11 and fuse them together on one end and make it longer, and then you would just put the place where it's fused on your spine, because then it's easily hid. Okay, so we're gonna just put some ooey gooey stuff on here, glue this down, cut across, and so there's about, you know, about 3/4 of an inch, or whatever. I don't know. What is this? My eyeball's not working for me. Let's see. What is this? This is about, yeah, 3/4 of an inch on both sides. So, you know, I'm just gonna eyeball it, but if I get about 3/4 of an inch all the way around, I'll be a happy camper. So this is my outside cover, and this is my inside. It's gonna be bright and cheery, but this whole book is bright and cheery to me. So I'm having fun with this. This is gonna probably go into a purse and be a nice little pictures for show and tell. I need to print out some of my pictures for my grandbaby, and maybe I'll keep this book. Anyway, okay, so grab your 12 by 12 and your 8.5 by 11, or two 12 by 12s, whatever, but you need at least one 12 by 12. And I'm going to glue down everything, put it down here, leaving myself 3/4 of an inch all the way around. Let it completely dry before I start bending it, please. And then we'll go to the next step. Okay, bye. Okay, I've got the page set on my 12 by 12. And I'm just braiding the heck out of it so that all of that glue gets spread everywhere. I just used wet glue, and if you don't have a book press, then just get you a couple books, and once you get it braided to where you feel like you're comfortable with that, just get you some just get you a really nice heavy book, like an old Webster's Dictionary, and leave it on there for a good, you know, 15-20 minutes. And that's going to dry and hopefully not do any warping, so that you won't have a you know, an unusually funny looking cover. Alright? Okay, so I got it out from underneath my big heavy book, and it looks really good. I took my bone folder and scored it all around the edges. I took it and bent it after that. Got it started. I put some 1/4 inch on the chipboard / cereal boxes, and I put some 1/2 inch on the paper itself. Now a little bit more to get it prepped. I am going to cut it at an angle for the corners. Be careful because it's harder to cut through the score tape. So once you get to the end of the score tape, your scissors will keep going and you're liable to cut off more paper than you actually want to. Because you want to leave a little bit of paper at the end. You don't want it to go all the way. That's probably a better one. Whoops, let's get it. Probably a better one right there. Okay. But I just kind of eyeball, and I don't cut straight across because I like to make sure that both of these touch and cover each other so that the corners of my chipboard is not uncovered. And if you cut them straight across, sometimes if you angle it too much one side or the other, they won't meet, and you'll be able to see the chipboard or cardboard or whatever it is that you're covering. Okay, so now we're going to take the tape off. My mom was playing around with some new nail polish that she got, and she did one of my fingers. So yeah, so sorry about that. I think it's really pretty, but then we had to eat dinner, and so we just didn't get any more of it done. So I'll probably look silly like this for a couple days because I'm horrible about taking care of my nails. Alright, there we go. Now, another thing that I really like doing, and I've seen several people do, is I like to make sure that, you know, I've got the tape here and I mean score tape here and score tape here, which covers all of that, but I like to get it where it's going to stick on the side. So I put tape right in that score line, and then I pull this over. I get my bone folder out and burnish that down, and then I take it and I flatten it out, and it makes a beautiful side to the book, and it distributes you that glue, and it makes it where there's not any part of that that's not glued and secured. Okay. Also, I did glue from every inch of this all over before I put the paper on it. So I think we already did that. And this is just Tombow Mono Aqua liquid glue. Any glue will work. It's just to give you a nice crisp edge, keep that edge, and it also helps with those fibers if you let it sit there a little while. If it's a paper that sometimes cracks, if you let that sit there for a little while, it can actually help the paper be a little moist and not crack. So there you go. All right, I'm going to burnish, and we're going to run this. Now sometimes if you get a little bit too much, you will see the glue come out the sides, the corners. All right, but it doesn't take much, so there we go. And now we're going to pinch in the leftovers. And a lot of times I've found, see, that had some glue coming out of it. A lot of times I've found that if I start from underneath, just, come here. If I start from underneath and just kind of fold over, that I'm catching all of it. And again, I'm going to run a little bit of glue. A little lighter in this corner because it's already got all that it needs. Pull this around. Gonna burnish. And we're gonna scrape. There we go. Okay, and then one last time, go ahead and run this real quick. Get my go. And there we go. All right, beautiful cover. Okay, now we're going to get that fold put in there. I'm just going to start on it really slow. I'm just finding where the score marks are and kind of pushing into the score marks so that as we bend, got some place for that paper to go. Okay. Good. It's a good, solid, sturdy paper. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. It's stretched. It's not really cracked as far as any lifting up, but it definitely stretched the paper. But I am going to put a little pretty on there. I don't know what yet. I don't know if I have anything actually from the paper line that's going to, no, that's not going to be long enough. Almost long enough. But I will find something that's going to go around here. Be kind of pretty. But anyway, okay, so, and then we've got the inside, and we're going to set this where we want it to be set. With a nice edge all the way around. We're going to take a pencil, which I had a pencil right here, and we're going to mark it right where we want to cut it. And we're going to cut that. There we go. Oh, got a little fold right there. Okay, so we've got that all the way. So I've got a little edge all the way around, and then we're going to put a mark where we want this to be cut. Just going to line this up. And we'll go through the same process again where I'm going to glue this down everywhere and have it all ready for the book. First off though, I know what I'm going to use as a closure is one of those Tim Holtz hitch fasteners on the front of this book, and some seam binding coming out the back of the book. And I will set those before I put, well, I'll set the seam binding before I put this down, and then I'll do the Tim Holtz fastener through both, because seeing the screw set in there is going to be cute on the inside cover, inside front cover, so I'm not worried about, you know, seeing the mechanics of it. I think it'll be cute on there. And then we'll do is set this and put our pockets in, and we will be done. Okay guys, other than a little bit of embellishment. So I'm going to pick up some seam binding, clear my table off a little bit, and I'll be right back. Okay. Boy, did I make a mess. Right here, I missed a couple of spots apparently with the glue, and then when I folded stuff, it didn't fold really nicely. So then I kept working at it, and I just made it worse and worse. But most of it's getting covered up anyway, so not to worry. I did make a hole. I found my center, made a hole, and put the hitch post in it, made a hole, put an eyelet in it, and so that's my closure. I made this on just some copy paper, and this is going to go on the back of the book, so that'll be my spine. And I put another piece of tape on this, and then I'm going to put glue along the edges so that then this will go on the inside of the book. Okay, so that is where we sit right now. I don't know what I'm going to put on the edges here, so I'm going to find that out and glue this down so it can dry while we're working on everything else. So I'm just going to put tape and glue on this, center it down, and then I will come back and we'll put whatever I've decided to go on either side of this, just for a little transition so it's pretty. And then we'll flip this over and we'll put this in, and we'll put the pockets in, and we'll be done. Alright, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I ended up putting silkwine tape. I have a 3-inch tape, and I found that more useful. I really enjoy having it. Okay, so I just need to center this. Just pull this off. Let me see, hold on. I gotta stand up for this. Okay. Put that there. Oops, well that didn't stay. Okay. Got this centered. I'm sorry if my head's going in the way, but I want to make sure. There we go. Grab. There we go. Make sure that's on there really nice and firm. That looks good. Okay. And we're just gonna slowly bend it. And I have a little bit of a lean over on the paper here. I mean on the glue. It pulled away just a smidge. And that's all going to be covered. And I've got a little bit lifting up that didn't get hooked on the edge here. I'm just going to lift this little glue here. So one thing with this piecing, there we go. When you're piecing stuff, that you have to be really careful, make sure you got all that. Okay, and now I'm taking ribbon on both sides. I'm just gonna, obviously I won't use that to cut, and I'll leave the edge to cut once it dries. Okay, and make sure it stays. Alright, I'm just going to stretch this, and bam. There we go. And this is some of the best stuff. If you work with a lot of textiles, this Fabri-Tac, Beacon Fabri-Tac, it is fantastic. I've worked with a lot of glues, and if you're working with a lot of textiles, it is worth it to buy this. And it is strong, pretty fast, not super fast. I put too much on this one. There we go. But it's very strong, and it works really, really well. Really, really well. Now we got that. and everything is good, and I'll trim these off in just a second. That is a little crooked there. Pull that back. Good. Straight. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to get this centered. And I'm stretching it out a little bit. And again, I'm going to have to stand up for this. Okay. So I'm going to pull all of these off. Let's get it on this side. There we go. And let's get, I'm just about out of this, so it's wanting to be really stinky on me. Come on. I know there's a little bit lovely left in there. There we go. There. Alright. Now this is the front, this is the front. And you see how there's a little bit of play. I'm going to be spreading that out a little bit. Not a horrible amount, but a little bit. First, we're going to line it up into the center on both sides. Pull it out just a little bit. And lay it down. Okay. And there we go. Get that all burnished down there. And there we go. Okay, so now all I need to do, and I can't remember if this is strong enough to, sharp enough to cut this or not. Let me see. I'm going to cut it just ever so slightly. Oh, come on. There we go. Get these two done. I'm cutting it before it gets to the book. And then there we go. Good. Okay, we'll do this again. If you do it while the glue is still a little wet, it'll also help you when you're trying to get that finished on the bottom. That's too much. Let me see if I can. It's got a little bit more glue on it, making it a little more difficult. And just push that down on the edge of the book. And there we go. All right. So here is, there's a nice tag. And a nice, that got pushed in there. There we go. A nice tag. And then we've got a few of the little cut aparts sprinkled around the book. So having these and having it out on the spine here makes, you know, kind of brings the inside and the outside of the book. Another little cut apart. That in there. Another tag. It's a very colorful book, and I've had a lot of fun making this. But mostly, it gives you an idea, something that you can do with 4 cards, 4 envelopes, one 12 by 12, one 8.5 by 11, and one 6 by 6 pad. And it's just beautiful. It's a great gift. And then we've got one last tag in here. And a little thing there. My only suggestion would be, instead of doing the cereal box one piece, cut it into individual pieces. So it would still be 4 3/4 by 6. You'd cut that, the front piece and the back piece, and 1 inch by 6. You'd cut your spine. And then when you put them on your paper, you would leave yourself 1/4 inch on both sides. And that's going to make it much more, much easier to, and much prettier. You're not going to have the special problems that I had on the inside here when I did that. So, yeah, that will work out a lot nicer for you to do that. So that would be my only suggestion about this whole thing. And I will try and put a notation when I do this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for following this series, and happy crafting. Bye! Hey guys, one last thing. Wanted to show you, I did put the pockets on the inside, front and inside back covers. They have a 1/2 inch on either side. I did them just like I did the ones on the pages. So that was it. Just thought I'd add that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Talk at you later. Bye.